Hello, this is Angelia, and you are listening to or watching the podcast, Why You Do What You Do. The podcast that talks about human development and psychology to help you figure out maybe a little bit more about why you do what you do. And last time we were talking about meta-memory, the view from within. And this time we're talking about improving memory in older adults. So those of us who are getting older, listen up. Some investigators have offered training programs in mnemonics. And I know you've heard me talk about those many times. And you might have watched the movie Johnny Mnemonic, to come up with things to help you remember things. Techniques designed to help people remember, such as visualizing a list of items. And like I said, like if I need to remember a letter, I might associate A for ant, ant. If I need to remember a number, like, this takes 10 minutes to cook and 10 minutes to, last number will be 2, tie your shoe, so that's something I do. Making associations between a face and a name. And now I used to have really good facial rec, my dad and all them would be like, who is that? Who is that? And I'd be like, oh, that's the so-and-so, they were in this movie and that movie, whatever. I'm not so good anymore. As I get older, I've noticed some of that is slipping. I'm not a fan. Or transforming the elements in a story into mental images. And when I was younger, I remember doing that, to remember stuff for homework and stuff. It's like, this happened in this year, and it's like, I remember like a plaque on the wall says this year, and then these people are doing this thing. So, there are many ways you can come up with to remember things. An analysis of 33 studies found that older people do benefit from mnemonic training. So, that's something that you can do. If you got memory problems, which we're all going to have, if you haven't started already, sorry, don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but those are things you can do, is rhyming, visualizing, and, writing stuff down. I make a list when I go to the grocery now, because in the past year or two, I've noticed if I don't, I'll forget one or two things, and I'll be like, oh my god, that was something I really wanted to get. Why did I forget that? But now I make the list so that I don't forget anything. The particular kind of mnemonic makes little difference. So again, you can come up with anything that works for you. And since we're all unique and different, it's what works for you and it's going to help you remember. Memory training programs also may include training in attention and relaxation. Because, I can tell you that. I can remember, someone joked me one time and said, your memory, because they'd say what, and then I'd go through, well, this and this person did this, and it was exactly, right. And so they're like, your memory should be used as in a court of law. And I'm like, oh, okay. But if I was paying attention, I remember it. So I think for a lot of folks, that's a problem, especially if you have ADD or ADHD, is the focus is not there. So you have to train yourself to focus, and pay attention, Sometimes, and I find that with people who I find boring or uninteresting, I have to force myself sometimes to pay attention to what's being said so that I can respond to them properly. And I'm sure we've all done that, where our mind wanders off because this person, we just like, okay. And then they ask a question and you're like, oh, wow. Because, I had a client like that. It's just like they're so self-absorbed, and I just got tired of hearing about themselves, even though that's what we're supposed to be talking about, that, my mind was like wandering off about what I had to do later in the day. So, don't be so self-absorbed that even your therapist is like, oh my god. So, and relaxation, you need to learn to relax. A lot of people are just 24/7, and that's going to give you high blood pressure, heart attacks, strokes, or whatever. It's not good for you. You need to learn to relax. Learn to take deep breaths. That will stop and count to 10. Do that, and then use a deep breath with it. 1, 2, and on and on. And like I said, meditation is a tool that I use. Taking a break. Sunday is the time I like to read, listen to music, relax. You need to learn to relax, because if you don't do that, it's going to affect your brain, and you're not going to remember things as well. As well as information about memory and aging. And if you, like I say, go talk to somebody, memory care. My mother-in-law was getting memory care because she had dementia. Well, she still has dementia, but they don't do memory care with her anymore because it got to the point where it was not doing any good. You can have the same conversation with her 3 and 4 times a day now, and she doesn't remember that y'all had this conversation. Like I said, she called my son 5 times in one day to remind him to bring something that she had called him 4 times before. So, they done all they can with her, and now they're just kind of like, as good as it gets. Including effects of mood on memory. Again, if you're in a bad mood, you got attitude problems or whatever, you're not going to remember as much as someone who's trying to be cool, calm, and collected. It's going to slip your mind, and all you're going to worry about is your problem. And, you're missing part of your life. So you need to worry about relaxing and trying to keep yourself in a positive mood. Positive people have a much better life than negative people. An experiment with mice has raised hopes that genetic manipulation, and now I didn't experiment on these mice, don't come at me for that, may eventually be able to counteract memory loss. So it's something that we're studying. The gene involved controls a unit of a neural signal receptor that normally becomes less active with age. So, like I said, as we age, the connections start to fall apart. Cells start to die. And, they used to think they didn't regenerate, but now they know they do, just more slowly than other cells. Like a neuron, I forget what the regeneration rate on is, but it's really slow. A strain of mice bred with extra copies of this gene performed better than normal mice on a series of memory tests. So, there may be hope. There may be, a drug in the future that people can take to help their memory. Because, if this worked for mice, then chances are it can work for humans too. But as we know, FDA, it takes a long time to get from mice trials to human trials. So, excuse me. In another experiment with rats, diets high in antioxidant fruits and vegetables, such as blueberries and spinach, retarded or even reversed age-related declines in brain function and in cognitive and motor performance. And I'm sure most all of our doctors have told us that, antioxidants will help you. My mother-in-law, when they told her she had dementia, she started eating blueberries all the time. She liked blueberries anyway, so that was cool. I like spinach. I like it in a salad. I don't like it cooked. I don't like that nasty vinegary. No. I want it in a salad, nice and fresh and pretty, and tasty. Foods rich in antioxidants. If you're finding you're having some memory issues, eat some of those. That will help you. And as we all know, most people know, oxidation is the number one cause of problems in our life. We don't rust like a car, but basically it can make your cells less effective, affect, your memory, all your bodily functions. So our bodies need those antioxidants that are in some foods to help repair the damage that the oxidation does. On the other hand, there is little evidence that highly touted memory-enhancing drugs, such as ginkgo biloba, have much, if any, effect other than placebo. Now, a lot of people take the ginkgo biloba. I had an uncle take the ginkgo biloba, and a lot of people believe it works. They think it's good and it works. So I'm not going to tell you don't take it. It doesn't work. They said little effect, so that means there might be some effect. So if you're taking ginkgo biloba and it's working for you, keep taking it. because even if it is the placebo effect, you believe it's going to work, so it does. So, I'm not going to tell you don't take it. So, that's what I have to say today on improving memory. And see, don't have strokes either, because then your brain and tongue don't work together if it hits that particular part of your brain. Improving memory in older adults. Hope that helped you figure out maybe a little bit more about why you do what you do. Please like and share this educational program so we can spread it around the world. If you want to help me out, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want to help me out even more, go to my Patreon page and become a patron. Thanks for watching or listening. That's all for now. Until next time.